I'm going to do this special live event just on YouTube, and just to share my insider kind of like expertise on why I believe Microsoft is purchasing LinkedIn, or has, basically inked the deal with LinkedIn. And looking at all the news that's out there, I haven't yet seen anybody touch on this, but again, as somebody who's really been on the other side of social media, social networking, and seen what's going on from the corporate side, I think I understand why Microsoft is making this jump into LinkedIn. Now, I'm not sure if this is a valid. I see the validity of the reasoning behind it, if what I'm saying is true. Um, Whether or not this is going to work out is something totally different. But here's what I'm seeing. If you work on the inside of corporate communications, there's an issue with communications within corporations, and a lot of information doesn't get shared. It gets lost in the cracks. People just automatically assume somebody else is part of that, the network of information distribution. And if you're not in the meeting at the time the stuff is shared, or part of that paper trail that happens afterwards, a lot of times people fall through the cracks, and they don't find out until they're 2, 3, 4, 5 steps down into this, whatever this project happens to be. And then they find out, oops, there's a problem, and they end up rolling things back. And that's why a lot of projects in corporations, especially larger corporations, seem like they just take forever, because the people who are critical to the decision-making process, or that can feed that decision-making process, often are not included until it's too late. So, we hear all kinds of different, bottom-up philosophies, top-down philosophies, but bottom line, if you can get all the decision makers in the same room with all the information holders or stakeholders, then you can very quickly get set things in motion the correct way. So what's been happening, if you kind of follow social networking, social media news, is Facebook has been making inroads in connecting with or through the millennials, to kind of put Facebook in on the inside of corporations in a completely different way. So it's not, hey, let's share this cute meme with the person that's sitting in the desk across and waste time. And they've been building this inroad into corporations as a communications tool through Messenger and things like that. So you'll notice now Messenger, they completely separated out. Okay, I believe that that's one of the reasons why they did it. It wasn't to create a separate app that they couldn't handle through the Facebook app. It was to create a distinction between a communication tool that's used as a communication tool, like in a business or whatever setting, and having the other side of it, which is a communication tool for family, friends, and sharing photographs and things like that. So even though it's the same tool, they've kind of broken things up. So you've got a business app, and you've got this group app, and you've got this messaging app, and you've got the Facebook app. So let's say because of HR, a lot of times HR will say, well, you can't be on the Facebook app while you're at work. But let's say they say it's okay to be on the group app, because we've got this X group that you need to be tied into. It's a private group that's just for the team leaders. Let's say they say, yeah, we're going to be using Facebook Messenger as our go-to tool for connecting within the company. So your Messenger works on your desktop. It also works on your mobile phone, same Messenger. So you can share information that way. So I see them making these inroads into corporate. Well, what's that going to do? Well, Microsoft has communications tools. They have document tools. They have all these tools. And so Facebook is ultimately going to be positioning themselves as a way for you to slide out. Same thing, we started to see kind of this not so great interaction between Salesforce and Facebook. So Facebook is kind of going down a lot of different roads, trying to stay relevant and saying, hey, we're a communications tool. Why not use it in business? Hey, we're helping you develop leads, through advertising. Why not, use us, for all aspects of that. So really locking people in, say, well, this is where you're getting your leads from. Why not just keep them here and work your leads through us? This is where you do most of your communications outside of business or work. Why not use that inside of work too? So you're not reinventing the wheel. You're not teaching people something, so they're using one thing over here and something else over here. It's almost like a seamless integration. So I can see the sales side of it. So now let's take Microsoft. Microsoft now is sitting out there. They have communications tools. They've got lead generation tools. They've got all these things, and slowly, I'm sure they're seeing their business, because as the millennials, grow up and become the bosses, and the owners and the decision makers inside of these businesses, which many are now. I mean, we've really gotten to that point where that highly connected generation they are decision makers already. So, and we've got a whole nother generation coming up behind them that are just as connected, if not more, and very comfortable with this technology. So where's Microsoft in this? Again, they're going to start to see, or I'm sure they are. They're already seeing, some of their tools are becoming less competitive, or there's there's a competitor out there that's saying, hey, your sales, your workforce doesn't have to learn anything new. They just keep doing what they've been doing all day long. Outside of your business. Now you bring them in, you've just cut that whole lead time to make them relevant. So I see Microsoft as making that tie-in with LinkedIn as their way of saying, hey, you know what, we've got that same suite. We're going to put that same suite of tools in, and so we're going to integrate with LinkedIn so you can continue to use the tools that you're comfortable using through Microsoft. And LinkedIn is a highly used tool, so they could kind of make that same pitch and say, well, you could do that with Facebook, but you're kind of apples and oranges with the rest of your systems. Stay with us. Let's keep you on the Microsoft platform using all the Microsoft tools, and if they want to use the LinkedIn tools on their personal phones and things like that, we'll make those things available as well. So it's kind of Microsoft hedging that whole disconnect and people swaying away from their technology. You got Office 360, things like that Facebook can very easily, very quickly replace, through Facebook Messenger and stuff like that. So these are all strategic moves. I don't see anybody else putting this type of information out there. And I put the question out to some experts, and I'm waiting to get some answers to see what they think, the reason why they think Microsoft is making this purchase. I don't think it's because Microsoft wants to get into the social networking business. I believe it's because they're afraid that Facebook is going to take more of their market share away, because they're positioning as the communication tool, their documentation tool and things like that. And Microsoft is trying to hedge that bet. So anyway, just my opinion, and we'll see as this thing plays out. But I think you're going to start to see some competition between LinkedIn and Facebook on that front, that whole business front.